Minicamp and OTA season is over, but we're still looking at the practice clips to get ready for training camp. But today, we're looking at the Raiders, and we're looking at Jack Bech. We're going to watch him work through some drills, catch some balls, everything else. Talk about training camp coming up, what we want to see from him in his rookie season. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're looking at practice from rookie camp to OTAs to minicamp, soon to be training camp. You want to see your rookies? You want to see those guys you're getting ready to draft in fantasy football and want to know if those guys are climbing the depth chart or not? It's all right here. Click that button. Stop missing out. We're starting off with Jack Bech here today. We're looking at him run some routes here. 2 minutes of clips. Here we go. There we go. To the left, Ladd McConkey. They're trying to make a simulator here to show the comparison between the two. Jack Bech is a wide receiver that can create separation, that went to LSU to start off his collegiate career, ended up at TCU, really got on notice from the draft community during the Senior Bowl. During the Senior Bowl, that's when the hype began, and we went to the second round to the Raiders, and they're playing him a good bit in the slot. That's what we're hearing from reports. And from what we're seeing here with this depth chart and addition of Jack Bech, that this is probably the best landing spot for both parties. Jack Bech going to a team where they need him for sure. They need a good-sized wide receiver here that can create separation, that has good hands, that's very reliable. Paired with Ashton Jeanty, Brock Bowers. You got Jacoby Myers there. I think this is the perfect spot for both of them. He needed to go to a situation where he could compete, where the depth chart's not really log jammed, where you can tell like there's an opportunity for him to step up, develop, and prove himself. What I'm looking for in training camp out of Jack Bech is just more of the same, but him taking strides forward, especially in those joint practices, listening by what the coaches are saying, but also what the other players are saying about him. Seeing what else they're going to do with him when it comes to scheme, because it sounds like from the little blurbs that he's getting some work in the slots. That is going to be huge considering Brock Bowers as well. That's going to be a tough offense to deal with. You got Ashton Jeanty there. Geno Smith, how he's going to facilitate the rock. You're looking at a wide receiver here that can get downfield too and make plays. So you want to stretch it with him downfield as well. He's got some length to him. Now, if you're looking at him for fantasy football redraft-wise, he's a little bit outside the scope right now, but he's more like a late-round lottery ticket. But I've been using and advocating my lottery tickets for the running backs, especially the rookies and second-year players who are falling in those double-digit rounds or later rounds. Just stashing those, depending on your format, how many guys you can hold as lottery tickets, 1, 2, 3, whatever. Dynasty-wise, I'm seeing him go in the second round a lot. Maybe there's a few drafts where he slips, but considering the draft capital that he spent and he's on a team where he can climb the depth chart, I consider that a good value. I think he's going to give you substance for fantasy football. I think he's going to help you in fantasy, and it's going to be volatile up and down, considering like you got Brock Bowers, Jeanty there, considering there's a lot of good competition in this offense. But I think he's going to be a good role player for the Raiders, and he's going to be out there on the field. I think he's going to work his way up to a good 70 to 80 to 90% route participation rate. I think he's going to have his moments where there's some games where he splashes, and that's after his rookie ramp-up, however long that's going to be for him. That could be year 2-ish, late round year 1. That could be late this year. That's what I'm talking about. I just see him being very safe for the Raiders, very consistent, learning the offense very well, just a good target downfield. Like, obviously not the next Justin Jefferson, not to that type of caliber is what I'm talking about, but being reliable down the stretch in a tough matchup, getting a few extra targets in a game where Bowers is getting locked up a bit with a safety over top. They're shadowing Bowers a little extra, so he's being reliable, catching a few extra balls in that matchup, maybe getting a couple touchdown grabs where most wide receivers couldn't get. Stuff like that. He's going to be gritty for this team. I believe he's going to give you some substance for fantasy football over time. especially for dynasty. I believe that. I believe he's going to be a sneaky play. I think the Raiders could be sneaky. They're built different offensively. They got Geno Smith who can facilitate the football. The offensive line allowed Amir Abdullah last year to eat. They also allowed Sincere McCormick to eat. Now you got Ashton Genty. So imagine what he's going to do behind that. On top of that, Brock Bowers is a generational tight end going into year 2. I believe we're going to see more of the same, if not ascend even more. That's a damn good tight end prospect, worthy of being drafted in the first round and more. We were waiting for him to come out for the draft since he was a freshman. How many tight ends can you say about that? How many tight ends can you say about that? Not many. Not many. Jack Bech is going to be a good fit for this team. He's going to be very reliable, very consistent. He's going to bring his lunch pail. He's going to go to work. He's going to be a name that a lot of people are going to forget about eventually, and then he's going to start popping back up. That's what's going to happen with Jack Bech. What I'm looking for him out of training camp again, how he performs in the joint practices, what the coaches are saying about him, how they're using him in formations, like if we catch more blurs of him in the slot. Look at the size there. They're looking to use him in mismatches. He's twitched up a bit when it comes to the route running. He gets in and out of those breaks pretty good. On top of that, he's good at getting downfield, contested catch-wise. This could be a sneaky player. This could be a very sneaky player for the Raiders. The more I talk about it, the more I'm feeling him. This is a sneaky asset. Fantasy-wise, he's going to give you some moments where you can moneyball your lineups and possibly a little more. But the thing is, for the Raiders, this is a good player that is going to be an asset for them for a long time. The top-end production for fantasy, it's going to be hard with Brock Bowers, Genty, and how the ball's distributed. Jacoby Myers there right now. They could bring in other wide receivers as well throughout the timeline there. But Bech is going to have a role. And he's going to have a role with the Raiders for a long time. He's going to eat with the Raiders for a long time. I expect him to always have a good route participation rate once he's acclimated. That is acclimated. That is once, that's the count of routes ran, averaged out with all the routes ran and pass attempts of the offense. So I expect him to be out there like 80 to 90% once he's acclimated. I expect that to happen. I believe he's going to be running a lot of routes per game. 25 plus, depending on the flow of the offense, honestly. Once he's acclimated, that could be middle of the season. That could be early this season. That could be next year. Once he's acclimated, once he's on the field, and he's got a full-time role, he's going to have a full-time role. I don't see it not happening. He's going to be a good asset for the Raiders. For fantasy, he's going to be usable to some degree. He's going to be usable to some degree. Might be a money ball play. Might be more for daily fantasy football. Might be a good using him in and out of your lineups with a batch of players. So think about that along with Dynasty, your format, how you need wide receivers, how do you use your starting lineups. If you're bad at starting players and guessing who to start, considering Brock Bowers and considering matchups, considering you got the Chiefs defense, the Broncos defense, so there's 4 matchups there that are going to be head scratchers for you every year for at least the short term. That's something to think about. If you like money balling your lineups, this is a wide receiver you may want to think about. However, he goes on the spot in the second round. There's a couple running backs to look at still in rookie drafts. And I've been hammering the running back position. That is a position that can gain a lot of steam and value when it comes to trade. He's going to hold some value in fantasy. It may not be enough in Dynasty to get you over the hump asset-wise. Now, if you don't understand that, Raiders fans, that's just the value, trade value team to team. Considering, like, the sheer raw number of wide receivers that you can moneyball with. But still, he's a good player. He's a good asset. That's what we're looking at here with Jack Bech. He's going to be on this team. He's going to have a role for a long time. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.